Welcome back to Olympus. My name is Andrew, and today I'm going to go over a daily recap of my trades. Tomorrow, Rizzo will be doing it, and Wednesday, as long as I don't have jury duty, I will be doing it again, and Thursday, Rizzo. And then on Friday, one of the two of us will be doing a weekly recap, as well as generally speaking at the end of the month. We're going to do a monthly recap, show some of our good trades, some of our bad trades, kind of what the market did, and potentially where it could be headed. So stay tuned for those. But in today's video, it is going to be a recap, and I'm going to mainly focus on how the market performed within the last 24 to 48 hours and why I ended up swinging a SPY put, and it went for about 140%, but I sold for about 133%. So let's jump right into that. As we can tell, generally speaking, the market has been on a downtrend, and this bear market, essentially started way up here at all-time highs back in January of 2022. So about a year ago, and it's been a rough year for all of us. But I noticed that recently SPY had not only, continued its downtrend pattern, but actually what it ended up doing was kind of going down a little bit and then recreating some bullish volume and intention here to push back up and break this trend line. And so this to me signaled a very bullish sort of interception within the market that we could potentially see some good signs of movement. And so like any bull market goes though, you actually have to break the trend and stay above the trend. And I was pretty scared about this. The world is still kind of chaotic. Inflation's up. You got, Russia and Ukraine still going at it. You got tensions with China. You have, like I said, inflations, but also just the debt ceiling coming up. And it's almost 1 year since the Fed started raising rates, and rates are just insanely high still. And so as a result, I wasn't too confident personally that this bull run would last too long. I believed personally that we would actually fall back into the trend, which is exactly what actually happened today. And so what I ended up doing, and I kind of signaled this 2 days ago, was, let me make this a little bit bigger, entering SPY puts. And they're super far out of the money. They're $400 strike puts at $17 per contract, expiring January 30th. That's today. And I entered those actually on the 27th on Friday. So today's Monday when I'm recording this, and I entered them on Friday. And so as you guys can see, the reason for me entering this, and I actually entered, let me see, at 12:53 p.m. And so we got this nice run up for the majority of last Friday, but within the last few candles, you can see I'm on the 5-minute chart right now that we actually had a sell-off. And so I entered at 12:53. So I basically entered on the second to last candle. This to me was signaling bearish intentions come Monday and perhaps over the weekend, which I will go over, by the way, how futures operated and how a essentially 90-point move could have been predicted. But in regards to this trade, I had seen the negative intentions of the market. We had been pumping so hard and so long, and it would only make sense to me if we push back down into the trend until times get better. That's exactly what happened. So I entered those puts. They're only 17 bucks a piece. I figured why not make it sort of a lotto-ish kind of play, but I had good, solid intentionality behind it. And that's exactly what happened. We actually ended up dropping way down here. We tried to fill the gap in the morning, didn't quite happen. And then we continued down and down and down and down. Actually though, when I did sell, and you guys will be able to see this here, let me see right here. At 6:31 a.m. today, I trimmed 80% of my cons for 130%. That was my fill in the screenshot of 133%. And then I ended up selling the last 20% of cons at break even later on in the day. However, it was a fantastic trade, 133%. Ended up entering more and more plays throughout the day. My Oxy $65 puts ended up running, I believe, to 80%. I don't believe I have a screenshot here. But they did end up running from somewhere between 75 and 80%, at which I sold. And that overall was a good play as well. Now, one thing interesting that we can take away from all this data is we're actually back down into the trend. And so this is pretty crazy. Typically speaking, if you do see a pattern such as this, where, you continue to go up and touch the trend line, come down, touch, go up, touch, down, touch, up, touch, and then you don't necessarily see the double back. In theory, we should have came down and continued down in this sort of trend or this channel, but we actually doubled back and came back up. Potentially what we could be forming here is a W if we reject back down into this officially and then continue back up, or maybe we just solidly reject, maybe some bad news comes out. But regardless, on Wednesday is FOMC, and depending on how the Fed treats that and treats all of the market data from CPI slash as well as what they know, we could either see us fall completely back in trend, or they could actually reverse the entire bear market and potentially push us back up. And so you have a lot of critics on both sides saying that inflation's basically already killed, and then other people saying, the world is still kind of in a really bad and tough spot. The economy doesn't deserve to go back to all-time highs or back to at least a bull market. And so we're kind of operating right now at that range. And I believe that we have effectively priced in exactly where we are. That's not financial advice. That's just my own opinion. Around that $400 range, somewhere between $395 on SPY and $405 on SPY as well. So somewhere in between there, I believe, is the effective range that the world is operating at right now. And so FOMC should be interesting, and we should see a very nice pump or a dump. With that being said, though, I do want to close out this video. I know that my TA today was a little bit shorter. I think it was more based on opinion rather than any crazy candlestick pattern that caused my puts to actually profit that much. But what was interesting about it is actually the amount of drops. So I bought those $400 strikes, and we actually reached 400.63. So they almost went in the money. And had they gone in the money, they would have been up almost 1,000%. So it just goes to show that with some very basic TA and some very basic understanding of the market, I was able to predict and get this outcome, as well as the same thing on Oxy, which I will pull up the chart right now. But we had this nice downtrend day, and I bought right at the beginning of the day. Going over futures, though, this is something super interesting. When I had drawn my futures chart yesterday, I noticed that there was a descending triangle, and we can actually delete the first part of this wedge, and I'll bring it back here in a second. But you have this nice descending triangle, which ended up trading sideways, dropping down below, then retracing right at the time the final retracement occurred right here, right where the next candle would actually be outside of the triangle. And so by this definition, we understand that this is a bearish sort of position, as well as this channel in general being created. After it broke down, I realized that yes, more triangles would be created here within this data, but we would actually end up receiving what would be a descending wedge. And so for all my future traders out there, you got a nice descending wedge here that officially broke out right here. And you can kind of trace the bottoms of these candles right here, connecting the dots essentially. I'm just doing this on the fly, but my original chart had the perfect line, and see a fat continuation of that drop to eventually, at 3:30 in the morning, about 3 hours before the market opened. And then by the time the market opened somewhere around here, it had retraced a little bit. But again, you guys saw the result of how today was. It was ended up declining down, and closed right around this point right here. And now futures seem like they're up a little bit, about 0.5, but nothing crazy. With that being said, though, that is pretty much the summary of today's video. I'm sorry if the TA wasn't that good. It was sort of a trade sideways day. We've had a huge drop last night, and that's just the result of what happened. And I knew that this was coming if, in theory, the market were to reverse. So it was risky, but it did pay off in the long run. Be on the lookout for those other videos, as well as feel free to join the Discord. All of our, basically we operate completely free. We make all of our money from trading. And as a result, live trading is free. We also offer free classes and free one-on-ones, which is crazy because I used to charge about $150 to $200 an hour for those. But our goal right now is just to build our community up and really teach people and educate them. And that's basically what the entire Discord is about. We also have free, we show you our trades, we show you our thinking, our TA, and things like that. And where our trims are, etc., etc. So feel free to visit the link in the description down below. I will catch you all later and look forward to Rizzo's video tomorrow. Take it easy. Much love, mad respect. Peace. I've been Zeus.